Hello everybody and thank you for joining me. This is Sierra from Sierra T Designs, and today I have this elegant black, white, and gold butterfly anniversary card to share with you. So let's jump right in. So to start with this card, I am actually going to stamp directly onto my card base. So I have my Misti here because I wanted to get a really good impression, and I have the transformation stamp from the Ton. And I'm going to heat emboss it onto my background, or onto my base, sorry. So I have it in my Misti just because I was kind of worried that I might have to stamp it more than once. So I have my Versamark ink. I'm going to heat emboss this with Brutus and Monroe's Gilded embossing powder, because I really wanted it to be gold. I thought that that would look really pretty. And I don't know if you guys saw my video about 2 weeks ago. I used this stamp set, but I'd made that card quite a while ago, and I just I remembered how much I loved this stamp set, so I really wanted to use it again. So we're gonna use it again. And I have a commission for some anniversary cards. So you kind of seen a few anniversary cards pop on my channel recently because yeah, I'm fulfilling a custom an order that I've gotten. So I did stamp directly onto the base, and I am going to heat set this with my heat tool. I love watching heat embossing melt, so I am going to show you it melting here. It doesn't seem to matter how long I've been making cards. I still just get so excited watching embossing powder melting, especially the gold. For whatever reason, it excites me so much. So I'm going to share that with you right here. I just thought that was super pretty. And I have to admit, the Gilded embossing powder from Brutus and Monroe is so pretty. Alright, so here I have attached my base down to my glass mat. And I am using like a knife just to cut where I want to fussy cut around it, because I knew I wanted to kind of have a bit of this cut out just to kind of show the butterfly wing. Like, I thought it was quite an elegant design, and I really wanted to showcase it. So I'm going to bring in my mini snips, and I am going to fussy cut around this. Now, fussy cutting is not for everybody, and that is a fair statement. I believe there is actually a die set. However, I do not own it. So if you had the die set, you could absolutely do this. It would just be a bit interesting. Like, you'd have to kind of hang it off of the plate, but you could do it with the die. I believe I know that there's also an SVG file, as I own the SVG file. But I just found that this was easier than trying to manipulate my Cricut into trying to cut just a portion of the image. So, I mean, I don't mind fussy cutting. You don't have to do this at all. If you had the die, you could absolutely do this. And you could do this with any image. I mean, I'm doing it with this one specifically because I own it and it's beautiful. But any floral you could do this with. Just kind of have it near the edge and then trim around it. Like, that's kind of the purpose there, right? And I think it turns out quite beautiful. But I really wanted to kind of showcase the butterfly. And originally, I thought that I might leave it like this. I mean, you guys saw in the beginning picture that I've brought in some Copic markers and I've kind of added some depth and dimension to the florals. But I kind of originally thought I might leave it like this, but in the end, I do change it up a bit just to add a little more. And I am adding a black strip of cardstock behind the cutout there. I don't take it all the way to the edge, so there is a little bit of white border still, but I did this so that it would pop against the white because it's so much white on white there. So I did a little black strip. Also, I did this so that when I went and heat embossed the sentiment on black cardstock, it really tied it together. So there's a few areas that have black. It's not just the strip, but it also helps that cut edge stand out against the base. And then I just brought in my trimmer once again just to trim it up at the end there, just so you could kind of get a really smooth cut. So, and this is a heavy cardstock too. That's why you kind of see me having a little struggle when I was kind of cutting it out. Just had a little bit of an issue cutting around it because it is quite a heavy cardstock, but it holds up really well, so that's perfect. I also now have a sentiment from Simon Says Stamp, You Have My Heart stamp set. It's the only happy anniversary stamp set I own, so you're going to see it in quite a few of the anniversary cards that I'm currently making. It's the only one I own. So, and I actually bought it because of that sentiment. It's a stunning stamp set. It has a floral that's just stunning in it as well, but I bought it originally for this stamp right here. But yeah, so I did heat set that on the same black cardstock I used to do the little strip, and with the same Gilded embossing powder that I used to do the butterfly. So here, when I was looking at it, I decided that I really wanted it to have a little extra dimension. So I brought in my N0, N2, and N4 Copics. Those are neutral grays. And I'm just going to add some depth around anywhere that there would be a shadow. I still really wanted it to be white, and you'll have to tell me if I actually succeeded in that, because I am a bit new at coloring with the well, I'm not new to coloring with Copics, but I'm new to trying to make things look white. So you'll have to let me know if I actually succeeded here. So I do always lay down my first color, which in this case was the N0, and then I go in with my mid-tone, which was the N2, and then I finish with the deepest one, which was N4, and then I go back to N2 and then back to N0. So that's how I like to Copic color. That's my preferred way. There's no wrong way to do it. You do whatever works for you. It'll turn out stunning. And I'm only going to show it to you on these first two flowers here, and I'm just adding shadow anywhere that a petal is sitting on top of another, or like a leaf has come over, or at the base of, or in the center of the flower, just because I feel it would be darker in the center, just because that's how the shadow would happen. So, and I mean, I'm not perfect at that. I mean, I kind of guesstimate as well. So just, I mean, it's practice, right? And I'm trying to get better at it. So I did bring in a Spectrum Noir sparkle pen here, and I'm just adding it. I'm going to add it on top of all the flowers. I've colored them all in with my gray markers at this point. And I kept looking at it because I felt like none was coming out, and then I lightly squeezed it, and a whole bunch came out. So it was really good that I actually squeezed it above my glass mat instead of the card, because I would have just had a huge blob of glitter. So I'm just going to pick it up and paint it on. And now, sadly, you can't really see it in the pictures. I'm going to hold it up after I finish painting it on and show it to you, but you can't really see it in the pictures, which is kind of sad. So I love how much it added, because this card is a bit, not simple, but there's not a lot in there. It's only the three colors, the gold, the black, and the white. And I quite enjoy how this turned out. I think it turned out really elegant. I'd love to know what you think. This is kind of out of my general style normally, so I kind of would love to know what you'd have to say about it. I also missed some little buds on the bottom there, so I'm just going to color those in quickly and then add my glitter on top of them. And that's then you can see it's still like dripping out, because I guess I pushed it way too hard. So it's a good thing I have my glass mat there. And then I'm just going to hold it up kind of a little bit here just to show you, and then we're going to move on to sticking down the sentiment. So I've gotten into using these Darice thin foam strips, and I just kind of lay my sentiment on top of them and then trim it to whatever length I need it to be. I've found that that works pretty well for me. And of course, to make sure that my sentiment is straight, I brought in my T-square ruler and lined it up, just because I think that it would really stand out on this if it wasn't straight and look fairly odd. So I really wanted my sentiment to be straight. And then I am going to bring in some gems, because, well, I love gems and I love sparkle. So that's all it takes, ultimately. And because I wanted to add a little more something to this card. I don't think that it's simple necessarily, but it is almost a little delicate. So I originally added the 5 gems that I just showed you there, but then I did bring in 2 more just to kind of add them up on top of the other part of the butterfly a little bit. So that is the card I have for you guys this week. I hope that you find it as beautiful as I do. I'd love to know what you think. If you would like to leave me a comment, leave me a like. I would love to hear from you. I answer every comment that some people leave, so if you ever have any questions, please let me know. All the supplies I used in this video are listed and linked down below if you ever want to know exactly what I'm using. And consider subscribing if you haven't already. I have new videos every Monday. Thank you so much, guys. I cannot wait until I see you again, and goodbye for now. Bye-bye.